Hi, I'm Megan, and today I'm going to show you how to play First Rat. This is by Pegasus Spiel for ages 10 and up, 1 to 5 players, and it plays in around 30 to 75 minutes. And I'm going to go over the solo rules as well, but first I'm going to go over the multiplayer rules. To set up, you're going to put the game board in the center of the table, have all your resources nearby, give each player a player aid in their chosen color. Each player chooses a color and then give them all their rats in their color, as well as a light bulb and a burrow rat. You're going to place 2 of your rats on the start space, your burrow rat on the start space here, and your light bulb on the start space there. You're going to place your other 2 rats in the nursery here. Then give each player 10 cubes in their chosen color and keep 2 cubes aside from the other 8. So I'm just going to put them on the opposite side of my player aid. No matter what your player count is, you're going to take 6 of the 10 bottle caps and place them face up on Madcap Crow's booth. You're going to take 6 comics and put them in the burrow here. In a 2-player game, you're going to take 3 of these energy drinks and put them on Zippy the Frog's booth. In a 3-player game, you'll do 4. In a 4-player game, you'll do 5. And in a 5-player game, you'll do 6. In a 2-player game, you're going to take 5 backpacks and place them on Harry the Hamster's booth here. In a 3-player game, it's 6. In a 4-player game, it's 7, and in a 5-player game, it's 9. The player who last ate cheese is the first player. Give that player the first player marker here. The first player receives 1 cheese. The second and third player receives 2 cheese each. And the 4th and 5th player receive 3 cheeses each. Next, you're going to take these gray cubes and place them on these score tracks. In a 1 or 2-player game, you're going to cover up this 1 and 2 spot as well as this 1 through 4 spot. In a 3 or 4-player game, you're only going to cover up the 1 through 4 spot. And in a 5-player game, you're not going to cover up any of them. For this score track here, instead of cubes, you have these gray rats that you're going to place here. And that's it for a setup for a multiplayer game. Now I'm going to go over some setup for the solo play. To start, you're going to place his rats on space 8, 5, 1, and the start space. So that's where his rats start. He always has all 4 of his rats to begin the game. He does not get a rat burrow or a light bulb. You're going to sort the solo play cards into stacks A, B, and C and shuffle each one individually. Then choose a level of difficulty. The level of difficulty will determine how many cards from each stack you're going to use. So I'm gonna play on easy this time. And so for easy, we're going to take 5 cards from the A deck. So I've already shuffled these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 cards from the B deck. And then we're going to add in card C. Then we're going to shuffle these all together, and that forms our solo deck. And there's my deck. And keep his cubes nearby. Then you're going to take an unplayed color and place 1 next to all the tracks. Don't put it on the symbol though. And in a solo game, you are the start player, so you'll get 1 cheese to start the game. And that's everything for the solo setup. So in this game, you are a Rattronaut. You were told that the moon is made of cheese, and so you want to go to the moon. And one day you discovered a comic that described the first landing on the moon, and so then a plan was born to build a rocket and take over the cheese moon. And fortunately, the junkyard has all the pieces you need to build rockets. You've got baking soda and vinegar to build the thruster, baking soda and a can of peas to build the middle section, and calculators, and P's to build the cockpit. I love how they were thematic in the baking soda and vinegar making up the thrusters, because that would actually make a bottle rocket go up into the sky. So you are racing to get your rocket parts built and to train your Ratronauts, get them to the end here. And you're just trying to score the most points with all these different point tracks here. So there's lots of ways to score points, lots of different strategies you can take. You can focus on, just the cheese track, or you can heavily focus on getting multiple rocket parts built. Or you can focus on just rushing to the end and getting all 4 of your rats to the end. Or you can focus on the light bulbs or the apple core track. So there's lots of different things that you can do. So on your turn, you're gonna move your rats. You can either move 1 rat up to 5 spaces, or you can move multiple rats up to 3 spaces, but they have to land on the same color, but not on the same space. So you can never have 2 of your rats on the same space. But if you move your rats, if you want to move multiple rats, you can move them up to 3 spaces. But like I said, they have to land on the same color. So I can do this, and 1, 2, 3. They've both landed on orange, so that counts. That works. Or you can move up to 5 spaces, just 1 rat. If you land on a space with another rat or multiple rats, you have to pay each person of the owner of that rat a cheese. So if I land here, I have to pay yellow a cheese. If there were 2 here, I'd have to pay each of them a cheese. The rules for movement is that you always have to be heading towards the end here, towards the rocket. You cannot ever go backwards. And like I said, you cannot land on the same space as one of your other rats. And that you have to pay cheese if you land on a space with another person's rat. And that's pretty much all the rules for movement. So the turn order goes like this. You move your rats, you collect resources, you can optionally go shopping if you land on the right spaces, and you can optionally build and donate cheese. So you can build rocket parts or donate cheese. So after you've moved your rats, or 1 rat, then you have to pay the person cheese before you collect the resources. So if you landed on a space with cheese, you cannot use the cheese that you would get that turn to pay them. You have to already have that cheese. If you don't have enough cheese to pay the person, you have to take a moldy cheese, which is -2 points at the end of the game. And then you would pay them from the supply. So then you collect your resources. You can collect cheese, baking soda, vinegar, peas, calculators, and that's all for what you can collect. And then you can advance on the apple core track, which is this track here. However many apple cores you get, that's how many spaces you move, and you follow the arrows. There's these little arrows here that tell you which direction to go. So basically, you go this way. Once you get to here, you decide, do you want to go up and collect a comic? And then you would go back around like this. Or do you want to keep going and then go up here and get a new rat? And then you go around like that. Or keep going and go up here and get to score the apple core track. And then you're back to the start and you keep going around like that. If you land on the light bulbs, you move your light bulb that many spaces. So in this case, you move your light bulb 1 space along the light bulb track here. And I'll get back to what the light bulbs do in a minute. One thing I forgot to mention about movement is that you have these tunnels, these little shortcuts that you can take if you pay the resource. So if I'm here, I can go 1, pay calculator, 2, you don't count the tunnel as a space, 3, something like that. And then you have 2 tunnels here, 2 here, and 1 here. Now the light bulbs, what the light bulbs do for you is basically if the light bulb's here and I land on, say, cheese. You can land on any of these spaces, same for any of these spaces, but say I land on cheese. I would get 1 cheese, right? But because my light bulb is either on or ahead of the space that I'm on, I get 1 additional of that resource that I land on. So I would get 2 cheese instead. if I was like this, I would get 1 cheese and 1 cheese, plus 1 additional cheese for this space and 1 additional cheese for this space. So that would be 4 cheese total. And that's kind of how the light bulbs work. It gives you additional resources, but just 1 for the space that you land on. If the space you land on is at the space of the light bulb or ahead of you. If you land on this space here, you can purchase or steal a backpack from Harry the Hamster. If you steal a backpack, you don't have to pay the cheese, but you have to go back to the start. Otherwise, you can pay 6 cheese to get a backpack. This backpack gives you 2 additional light bulbs every time you land on a light bulb. So if I landed here and here, I would get 2, 3, plus 2 more. You don't get 2 more per space you land on, just 2 more in general. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you get this backpack, that gives you 2 additional cheese. This gives you 2 additional apple cores. This gives you 1 additional resource from the orange spaces. And then if you land on this space here, and you can tell because it has a little arrow pointing to the animal there. So if you land on this space, you get a energy drink. If you want to steal it, you got to go back to the start. Otherwise, you can pay 7 cheese to take an energy drink. What the energy drink does is it's a one-time use, and basically you can double the amount of resources that you can collect. And I'm going to use resources as a word to mean any of these resources, as well as the apple cores and the light bulbs. So if you land on the light bulbs, you can double it, what you've earned. And then if you land on this space here, you get to take a bottle cap from Madcap Crow for 12 cheese, or steal it and go back to start. And these all give you points at the end of the game for scoring. And there is a reference sheet that goes over all the different backpacks, the energy drinks, and the bottle caps, as well as the comics. Then optionally, you can turn in resources to either get points on this cheese track here. It costs 10 cheese to get a cube on this track, or you can turn in resources to build rocket parts. This one costs 5 vinegar and 2 baking soda, and then you can put a cube there on the farthest left available spot. This one costs 3 baking soda and 2 peas, and this one costs 2 calculators and 1 pea. If you get a cube on all 3 of these, you then get to place a cube up here on this track. And this track here is for the light bulbs. Every time the light bulb reaches these yellow big light bulbs, and you do count this as a light bulb space, every time it reaches that, you get to put a cube on the light bulb track. So there's one here, here, and here. And then after you turn in resources to build stuff or donate cheese, you can also optionally, that's it. And then after you optionally turn in resources to build rocket parts or donate cheese, then your turn is over and it's the next player's turn. The game ends when somebody has placed all 8 of their cubes, or when somebody has gotten 4 of their rats to the end. Then everyone will then you'll finish out the round, so everyone has equal amount of turns. This last space here is treated as a wild space, so it counts as any space, but it doesn't give you your normal resources. Instead, it gives you either this nut it's worth 3 points at the end of the game, or it gives you a rat from the nursery that can go back to the start space. So that's one way to get additional rats, or you can get additional rats by coming to this space here with your rat burrow. At the end of the game, you have this nice score pad that you're going to score. You're going to score for this track, these 3 tracks, then you'll score for this track, this one, and this one. You'll score your bottle caps, your nuts that you've collected, and your moldy cheese. You'll minus the moldy cheese. And then for every 4 resources, I believe, let me just check that. For every 4 resources, which is the vinegar, baking soda, peas, calculators, and cheese, for every 4 left over, it's 1 point. And that is everything for this game. I'm not going to go over what all the different scoring is for the bottle caps or how all the comics work. I'll let you read that on your own in the reference sheet. So that's everything for this game. There's one more thing for the solo rules that I have to go over, so I'm going to do that now. Basically, there's these cards, and I'm going to use one of the cards I set back in the box, for example. So solo, the way it works is you draw a card, and this tells you how many spaces the first rat moves. So that means this rat would move 3 spaces. The second rat moves 0 spaces. This one will move 1 space, and this one would move 0 spaces. And then this means we're going to prepare this track. So we're going to take this blue marker here and put it on the symbol of that track. And the next time we draw this card, we're going to place a yellow cube for them on the track and then move the blue cube back off to the side. Then there's one card here that takes away a comic. This means you're going to shuffle the comics and discard one and then put them back here. And the solo player only scores for, they score for everything except they never collect bottle caps, they never collect backpacks or energy drinks. They do discard them. So if they land on this space, if they land on any of these 3 spaces, you're going to shuffle those tokens and you're going to discard one. And they never send back to the start. They also don't collect cheese or any of these other resources. So they're only scoring the tracks, and I believe that's it. They just score all the different tracks. Solo is really easy to manage. And also basically, once they have a rat at the end here, and you draw this card, the first rat moves 0, right? But the first rat is already at the end. So this rat is now treated as the first rat and the second rat. So that rat would move 0 plus 3, which is still 3. But in this example, the second rat would move 2 spaces. If they have 2 rats here, then the next rat that is farthest along moves 1 space plus 1 additional space plus 2 additional spaces. So 4 spaces total. And I believe that's everything for the solo rules. If I forget anything about any of the rules for multiplayer or solo, I will put it down in the description or make a note on the screen. So that's it. And you can expect a playthrough video for a solo playthrough coming soon. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.